Hi everyone, my name is Lorena Levano. I am part of the Master of Behavioral and Decision Sciences, and today I'm going to talk about sexual harassment in high schools from a social norms perspective. Well, first of all, my motivation. This is a picture from Peru. These girls have banners that says, "No more sexual violence." This is a picture from Philly for the Women's March in January 2018, with girls and women with similar banners. These two pictures make me think that this sexual harassment is not a local problem. This is a world problem. And in fact, according to the expert, sexual harassment is the biggest global safety concern for girls. Unfortunately, Lima, my home city, is one of the most unsafe cities for girls in the world. Then the problem. When we think about sexual harassment, we usually think about the workplace, public transportation, and we usually think about adults. But this is a problem of kids too. For example, we have this girl that says, "I was walking home from school when one of the older boys put his hand over my shoulder and grabbed my boob." This is not the only girl. 7 in 10 girls in the US are sexually harassed at some point in high school. And this is not just a girl's problem. This boy, for example, this is a real story, said, "These girls talk about me in inappropriate ways and find ways to make physical contact, and I really don't like it, and no one is going to stop it because I am a guy." So we have been talking about sexual harassment, but I don't know if you are sure about what is sexual harassment. So sexual harassment is an unwanted and unwelcome behavior of a sexual nature, and in schools, it interferes with the right to receive an equal educational opportunity. It can be from different ways. It can be verbal, physical, or visual. Of course, the physical way is easier to recognize. But if someone called me a bitch, if someone talks about parts of my body in a sexual way, or force me to watch videos or share content in a sexual way about myself, that is sexual harassment too. And what are the consequences of sexual harassment? Well, there are a lot of consequences in the short and long term. First of all, the psychosocial and behavioral one. Some students don't want to go to school because of this, and some other students have problems in the school or have a lower academic achievement. In the psycho-emotional effects, we have feelings like anger, being afraid of others, and the incapacity of trust others. And in the physical, we have migraines, headaches, and some other related symptoms with depression. What are the current solutions? Unfortunately, the schools usually do punishment, detention, and in the more severe cases, criminalization. Other countries have rules and laws and legal sanctions, but the laws and policies in some cities do not exist or are only slightly effective. The solution. So for me, the biggest problem is that the current solutions are just thinking about individual behaviors. We have to consider the social conditionality of sexual harassment. Think for a second about this fish, or think for a second about these birds. So imagine trying to change the behavior of all this group, just intervening individual by individual. That is true for humans too. When behaviors are interdependent, we have to work on entire communities. And for that, we have to understand the underlying reasons of the collective behavior. For this, we have the framework of social norms, and it says that some of our collective behaviors are conditional on what I believe others do. For example, if I see other students harassing others, I will say, okay, this is a common thing, so this is normal to do. And also, these collective behaviors are conditional on what I believe others think I should do. So maybe I think harassing is being a man, being a boy, or maybe this is making me to look like a funny girl or a popular girl. So interventions should promote collective and coordinated change. For this, first, we have to change the beliefs of the students, and for that we need participatory classes, personal reflections, and activities such as writing letters for friends. That is really powerful. We also need the students' active participation. We need them, for example, to get involved in a school play related to sexual harassment or create audiovisual content. We also need to elicit collective abandonment. For example, in these pictures, we can ask, How many of you are committing to stop harassing? And when they look that they are not only the only ones that are changing, but it's the whole community that is changing, they're gonna change the behavior too. This also can be complemented with information campaigns. This is a really good example of how to update the beliefs of the students. They said, okay, this is not just a joke, this is sexual harassment. And this is another powerful message. It says every 98 seconds an American is sexually assaulted. But my recommendation is do not publicize the negative behavior, because then we are showing how normal and unpunished it is. So then others are going to think, okay, this is totally normal and common, so I can do that too. This is not just a theoretical framework. Actually, we can put this in practice. I am working currently with a great team, interdisciplinary team in Rhode Island in a school, and I will love to do this in my home country, Peru, too. And then, well, I just want to finish with some key ideas. If I have to say you just two messages, the first one is, if you ever do an intervention, if you have to implement a policy, first, consider the reasons behind the behavior. And second, focus on early stages of life, because prevention is the best cure. Well, I just want to thank the Perp and Arts and Sciences, the Graduate and Professional Student Assembly for funding my project, and Pronavec, the school, the Office of Scholarships in my country for letting me be in here. And thank you. If you have ever heard a story of sexual harassment, please listen, believe, and support.